Hey friends, it's Nate at Salmon Guitars. I want to show you this really badass Gretsch Corvette. I just finished working on this thing and this one was a fighter. So you can see there that big guard, it's doing that celluloid thing. Celluloid just breaks down over time. That's what it does. And these electronics were real nasty when they came in. The guitar really it didn't want to give any output. Plug it in, nothing. Weird cracklings, etc. So luckily I was able to clean out the electronics on this guitar without removing the pickguard. I will be forever grateful that it went that way, because taking off an old disintegrating celluloid pickguard is not cool. It's just not a fun time. But this guitar also really needed a refret. The frets were super corroded, especially by the pickguard. They were just disintegrating as the metal parts do. You can see that neck pickup kind of green and disturbing. It's actually better than it was when it showed up, believe it or not. I was able to remove a lot of that corrosion. But the frets were nearly gone. I measured them and they were about 10 thousandths tall. The fretboard on these guitars is usually really flat. It's got a slight radius to it, but it's flatter than 20 inches in radius if you were to match it to the bridge. So this guitar didn't measure that way. When I checked it with my radius gauges, I had spots that were as tight as 10 inches and spots that were like dead flat. Obviously, in that state, we also don't have a level fretboard. So pulled all the frets, leveled the fretboard, did a refret, and leveled those in the Erlewine neck jig under simulated string tension. I had to cut out the old nut on this guitar, and I doubt you'll be able to see this here, but this nut slot is not square in any direction. The fretboard kind of goes like this at the nut end, and the floor of the nut slot matches that. It's like at the factory they were like, well, cool, we made a mistake, so let's roll with it. So I spent probably 30-45 minutes just trying to true that up a little bit, and I was worried about the intonation, so I did some measurements, and unfortunately this fretboard edge isn't parallel to the first fret either, so it's a little bit too close on the treble side. It's nearly right on the bass side, which I'd rather have it be that way than the opposite. A whole lot of little tiny things. I pinned the bridge so the bridge doesn't slide around anymore. It's just going to stay where it needs to be. And did a general cleaning, sprucing up of this thing. I honestly think that in the end, this is one of the best like resto type jobs I've done. The fretwork turned out great. The nut turned out awesome. Just everything about it's cool, and it still has its character. It's not like a brand new guitar. It's got all the cool shit that it's collected throughout its life, all the scars. It's got this strap button here that's made out of a Mexican coin with a hole drilled in it. It's so cool. I hate how much I love this guitar, and even though this guitar I had to make the nut 3 times. That's how shitty that nut slot is. I had to make the nut 3 times, and I got down to my last nut blank that would be big enough, and had to step away and come come back. This guitar was a fighter for real, but it's so cool. And I'll agree with a lot of people's criticism of these Corvettes is that they're too quiet. The pickups are not high output enough. I would disagree with that being the reason why it's quiet. I think the reason is that the pickups are so far away from the strings because of the neck angles on these things. I think it's more of a proximity thing, but they're definitely not hot pickups either. I'm gonna just play a couple sounds through my ZT Lunchbox. I've got the gain turned up a little bit more than usual so that I can get volume out of it. So if you were to get a Gretsch Corvette like this, you'd want to probably have a boost pedal on your board, but you wouldn't regret it. Guarantee you that. If the Gretsch Corvette that you purchased was gone through and in good playing shape, man, this thing is awesome. So fucking cool. I really like this one, and unfortunately it's gotta leave. I sent the invoice out to the owner. Hope you're all having a beautiful day. I'll see you next time.